So when it's come to the set concept, when it comes to the set concept, so there are set is one interface, and it has a by default properties are nothing but unordered collection, then followed by allows duplicates or no, unordered collection of objects in set, and then followed by doesn't allow duplicates. Next, the three implemented classes has set, and next linked has set, then followed by three set. What are the underlying data structure support? For has set, what is support? Has table, and for the second one, has table plus linked list, and for tree set, balanced tree. So for adding the elements into this has set and linked has set has no problem, like adding string builder objects for a tree set. There is no problem. What is the reason of no problem? What is order of insertion of the elements? Any order will be maintained or some random order. So in asset, the elements will be stored in the random order. There is no such problem there. And when it comes to linked asset, it is insertion order. But when it comes to tree set, by default, it is a default natural sorting order is nothing but ascending order. So when it is arranging the objects in the ascending order, then there must be a mandatory comparison. Correct or not? So when it is comparing, then there is a problem of comparing such type of elements. That is where when there is internal support is there or not there, that's one thing. And when there is no support as a programmer, what we have to do? That's the second thing. So for that, so this is where we stopped it by adding integer kind of generic elements or generic objects. We have checked with tree set. It's working fine. Yes. Even for string also we have added. It is also working. And when it comes to string builder, so this type of elements are throwing the class cast exception error. Okay. So for this we have concluded there are two reasons. One is, yeah, please make a note of this one. By default, all wrapper classes and string class implements comparable interface. Comparable is a interface name. By default, all these classes will implement this comparable interface. What are those classes? Wrapper classes means, which we already know. That is to start with byte class or short class. I'm calling them as classes. Okay. The next integer class, and then yeah, long, and then float and double and boolean. Same thing that we know. So all these are nothing but wrapper classes, and along with this string class also, plus the string class as well. So these classes by default implements an interface name called as comparable interface. Then as a programmer, when we try to add such type of objects into the collection, then there is no problem of adding those elements even by using preset as well. Internally comparable interface will take care of how to compare and all. Internal there is one method. I'm not going that much detail. Yeah. So because of this comparable interface, that sorting will happen into tree set. Yeah. This problem is with tree set. That's why I'm discussing more on tree set only. But for a class called string builder class has no support of string builder class has no support of comparable. no support of comparable interface. So because of this reason, we will be getting the class cast action. Then what is the solution? What we have to do? So for this, there is one more interface in Java that is nothing but comparator. Comparator is another interface. So based on that interface, as a programmer, we have to write the code to make sure that these elements will be arranged in the proper order. It can be ascending order or descending order. So based on our program or code, we have to change this for string builder. It is not by default, it's not possible. That is the reason yesterday we got a class cast exception, and this is the solution for it. Then how to use this one? Sorry, no support of comparable interface. Then programmer has to use comparator interface to arrange in any order. It's our choice. We can arrange in ascending order or descending order. So this is the point which we have to understand. And more in details, I don't go. Directly, I'll give you what is the code present for this comparator to get the solution of the string builder objects. How do we add it to tree set? I limit my discussion to till that point only, not beyond that. The reason is understood. Next point, along with these classes which are implementing this comparable interface also expects only homogeneous kind of data. Means objects are of similar type. So that means whenever we are using wrapper classes, it is by default they'll become either the same type of byte or short or int or long, like this only. There's no problem there. But even for comparable interface, then the objects must be homogeneous type. Then only that internal comparison will happen. Otherwise, we'll get the exception. Then what is this string builder class? Has no support. Then as a programmer, we have to use this comparator interface. How do we do it? To understand this, directly I'll go to yesterday's program where we got the exception, and then from there we find the solution for this. And one more important point, in which package this comparable interface is present? You can guess it. Which package? Yesterday we are using tree set to compare the elements by using integer kind of data and also string kind of data. Then as a programmer, are we importing any statements there? No, we didn't write any import. Then by default, which package is available? Java.lang package. So this comparable interface is present in java.lang package. Then where is this comparator is present? Is it also lang package? No, this is present in util package. Comparator, I'm just no space, so I'm pointing arrow here. This is present in java.util package. Then to use this comparator, as a programmer, we have to explicitly import that package so that we can use it into our program. So with this introduction of what is the difference between comparator and comparable, so same story is applicable to one more tree set. So one more tree. What is a tree? Tree map. Tree map also it's the same story. Okay, I don't repeat there. I'll just directly go for the corresponding examples when it comes to tree set. String builder class has no by default support of comparable interface. Then that's the reason once we execute this program in the last class, if you remember, so we got the exception called as class cast exception. Yeah, so this is the exception name. Then how do we avoid this exception to get the order of these elements? What is the solution? So as a programmer, we have to use the comparator interface. So for that, after package statement, I'm writing import space, what's the package? Java dot util dot Java dot util dot, what's the interface name? Comparator. You can see this comparator is the interface which is present here. That's the statement which I am importing. Then followed by I am not disturbing any of our code. This class will be as it is. Then we have to use this interface. Which entity will implement the interface? A class, right? So let us only focus on this one. So here I am taking a class which is of say my comparator. It's a programmer name, programmer class name. Then how do we use the interfaces? Extends or implements? Implements is the keyword. Then the interface name comparator. So as soon as we implement any interfaces, immediately we'll get a compile time error. What's the reason behind? Interface contains abstract methods. Then as a programmer, we have to override them. Correct or not? That implement the body means by overriding concept only. We'll do that. So now here we have to override that. So what's the method? Public int compare. Public int compare is the method. What it has to compare? When it is comparing, when it is trying to inserting the elements into tree set object, then Java might be compared with JEE. Correct or not? So then probably next time, whichever is the order, then based on that order, CSS also has to be compared. Then with the next element or with some of the previous elements, it has to be compared with HTML as well. At one point of time, how many objects will be compared? 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 at one point of time. If I ask you to compare 3 numbers, what you'll do? All 3 will compare at the same time? Now we'll take first any 2 and based on that, depends on the order, we'll decide whichever is lowest or smallest, biggest. Then with the result, third number, remaining number we compare. Here also the same way. For this, we need to take 2 inputs to compare any 2 values at one time. So that's the reason I am taking some object. Since these are all our objects here, so I'll take object some 1, comma, one more object 2. 2 inputs I am taking. For comparing those things, 2 inputs I am taking. So this is the corresponding method syntax. Yeah. So we are getting the error because return type is integer, not void type. Yeah. Then what we have to do inside this one? How to compare 2 string objects? Leave about these collections and all, just go back to once again basics. If string some s equals to, say in double quotes Java, then in string s2 equals to new string of Java. How do you compare these two? By which method? S1 dot equals method of S2. Correct or not? What will be the result of this one? If you print it, are they same? Exactly same lowercase letters, same, no extra spaces, only JAVA in both the objects. Therefore, we get the output as true. Correct or not? Next, this is a known question. The next part is if the same thing if I take in a string builder. Same thing if I take in string builder. So string builder, some S1 equals to new string builder of say Java. Then string builder S2 equals to new string builder of again Java as it is. How to compare 2 string builder objects? By which method? In a string builder class, what is the purpose of double equals operator? Compares the address. What is the purpose of equals method as well? It also compares the address only. Then how to compare the content of 2 string builder objects? So for comparison, it is mandatory programmer has to perform conversion of string builder into string. Then only we can compare the string builder objects, otherwise it's not possible. Yeah. So for the same thing, I'm converting them into strings. how to convert? How to convert them into strings is just toString method. ToString is a method on which on string builder object we have to use what's the object variable name here which I'm using 1. So here 1 dot toString is a method. If you use 1 dot toString is a method. Yeah, any parameters? Just observe, I'll type once again 2 dot toString method. What's the return type? String. Present in which class? Object class. Somewhere we use this toString method also. Where is that? Now, in exceptions to print the exception object information, e dot print stack trace, e dot toString, and e dot get message. So these are three methods. So in that one of the method is nothing but get toString, sorry, toString method, which is present in the object class and whose return value is nothing but string. So here I'm again implementing this toString method on the second object as well. Then what's the result of this? String some s1 is the variable I'm using. Then here also result is string. Again I'm using string s2. Next, what is the return type of this one? Integer. Then we have to compare. We have to compare s1 dot compare. Which method? s1 dot compare s2. Now these two are strings. I'm comparing them because which has to come in the ascending order, which has come first and which has come next, or if it is descending order, which has to come first and which has to come second. That's the reason we have to compare it. And what's the return type of this one is int sum I. Then the last statement, what has to be ended in this method? Return statement. So return I. This line directly I can write as a return also. S1 dot compare to of S2 we can write it directly. We can write it directly. But just for our clear understanding, the return type of this method is int, that is 0, positive or negative. Three only results will be there. So that internal mechanism I'm not going in detail. Already I'm sensing that only its first level of lecturing is happening. I understand. Correct, no? Yes. So after all this, what is the support of this preset string builder class has? Comparable or comparator? No support. No comparable support. Comparator support is explicit by programmer. Then we have to create the object for this one. New compare. Sorry, what's programmer different class name? New my comparator. We cannot create the object for interfaces. We can create the object for the classes. Now previously there is nothing here. So this time I have given this new my comparator. Default constructor. Whenever we create object, we have to use the default constructor. So now after adding this my comparator, what is this internal mechanism? We don't bother. We'll just cross verify what is the output. We got the output. Which order? Ascending order, because first it started with C, then next after that H, then J after A, and then J after E. Just please observe. Int I equals to, what did I write here? S1 dot compare to S2. Yeah. First object is compared with second object. Now just observe, I'll change this one. S2 to S1. In any which way we can compare, right? So previously what's the output? First CSS, HTML, Java, JEE. Now let me execute this program once again. Just observe the difference. What happened? Descending order of what we got. Next, if I make all these are same, say for example, CSS. I'll make this CSS. Here also CSS. What is expert output in tree set? Duplicates are allowed or not allowed? Not allowed. Let me execute control F11. What's output? Only one. So internally this method is working. If the return type is negative, if the return value is negative, then we get the output as a ascending order. If the result is return type is positive, then we get in the descending order. The return type is 0, then the duplicates will not be allowed. In this one situation, JVM is dummy. It will listen to the programmer's code. JVM is just doing its job of only executing. It is not doing internally anything. Yes, please do take this one. In this collection hierarchy, which is the parent-most interface. Before collection, anything is there? Yes or no? What is that? Yesterday we discussed one more thing, 3 cursors. What are those 3 cursors? Enumeration, iterator, and list iterator. So again, if I go in detail about what is the purpose of that iterator and all, then today's class will go in vain. So I'll go for a next concept and I'll choose a proper time again to discuss about the iterator a little bit more. Iterator a little bit more we have to understand. Enumeration, I don't discuss any one single point. Only it is applicable for the legacy classes. That's all. And the list iterator and iterator, we have to see the examples of that. In how many ways we can print the collection data? 2 ways we can print the collection. What is that? The ways which we can print to print collection, to print in the sense to read. Okay. To read or to print, both are same only. We are adding, means we are adding the collections, objects, and we are reading the objects back again. So to read or print, the way to read or print the collection objects. How many ways? 2 ways. What are those? One is directly by using a system.out.println print statement here, the object of the collection. Like for example, system.out.println preset HS, LHS, the same thing which we have used. This is one approach. What second approach? By using for each loop also, we can print the object of the collection. There is third approach. That's why 3 ways. What is the third approach? Iterator. Iterator is a universal cursor. Yesterday I have given this point. It's a universal cursor. Then this has to applicable to all the interface or not. That's where this is the topmost interface of even before the collection as well. In this collection hierarchy, since iterator is a universal cursor, which is applicable to every collection class, therefore that must be the top of the tree. Therefore, in collection interface hierarchy. So we discussed previously, collection is the topmost, and then set is one interface, and then list and all those story we are aware of. I'm writing only these 3. Set, list, and map. I'm sorry, map is not here. Set and list, and then followed by queue. So in this hierarchy of these interfaces, there is a topmost even before the collection. That's nothing but iterator. Iterator is one interface. This is one more point to remember.